Hi, my name is Terry Charlemagne, writer and creator of Entity with Facepalm Comics, and you're watching Invest Comics TV.
This is Crystal Storm with Invest Comics TV, and we have a really awesome guest today. I'm really excited. He's certainly no stranger in the comic book world, and he's a very, very busy man. Sergio Cariello, how are you?
I'm doing great, Crystal. How are you? And
Excellent. Excellent. Rick is kind of off in the background just producing for us, but he'll wave.
Oh, okay.
He'll wave and smile during the interview. So, Sergio, I viewed your website. I've been on your blog page. I've read your Wikipedia entry. You're a busy guy. You've got a lot going on. So, and you weren't originally born in the U.S. You're originally from Brazil. So kind of tell me how you got started in drawing for comic books.
Well, I started when I was 11 doing comic strips, and I drew comic books for myself. But I was published doing comic strips at 11, and then in a local newspaper in Brazil. Then in 1990, I was working on a story for Caliber Press called Day Gone. That was my first American comic book that I penciled, inked, and lettered while I was going to the Cuban school. And from then on, it was DC, Marvel, and a bunch of other comics that I got involved with.
That's excellent. That sounds very exciting, too. How did it feel to be published, have your own comic book at age 11?
It was fantastic. I was so excited to go to school and have my friends asking me what was going to happen next week with the character that I created. And I was so naive about production that I drew actual printing size, because I had no idea about drawing big, and then reducing the pictures. And also, I was very bold to draw right on the paper, no pencil, no sketching, just magic markers right on the paper and right in the stories. It was nuts. It was. I would never be able to do that. After I woke up to reality that hey, you have to plan these things. You just don't wing it.
Right.
That's the way I did it. Yeah, it was great.
Well, that's awesome. I see that ambition hasn't stopped. So has that boldness that you had when you were 11 really carried you over through the years?
Yes, I think it is the main ingredient for any artist is to have self-confidence and humility and a good balance. If you are too afraid, you never do anything. You never finish anything. And if you're too confident and you think you know it all, you'll never learn anything. So in order to move on, many times you see something that is not quite what you want, but you got to let go and keep going. And that's something that I was able to also teach as some of the students at the Cuban school that I was an instructor for 7 years. Sometimes an assignment was not quite what it should have been from a student, and he wanted to fix the assignment. I would just tell him, no, let go, get the critique from this. Next time you do better. You don't have to revisit. Just some pages in comics, they might not be perfect, but if you wait until it's perfect, you never get published. So some drawings you just have to let go and let your bad drawings come out as Chuck, Warner Brothers artist, my goodness, Bugs Bunny artist, Chuck Jones would say, you have to draw 1,000 drawings and let all the bad drawings out of your system. It never seems to end. We're like Joe Kubert says at 80. He says, "I'm getting the gist of it." So we never stop learning. That's for sure.
Right. That's excellent. Now, one of your first major jobs was with Marvel Comics. Was that like a surreal moment for you to find out that you were going to be working with them?
Oh yes, I went to the Cuban school, thinking about drawing comics. It didn't matter if it was Marvel or if it was Caliber or any independent or big or small company. All I wanted was to be doing what I love to do. Draw comics, draw superheroes, or draw any heroes or characters. To be able to draw for Marvel Comics was amazing. Just as a matter of fact, I started in Marvel as a bullpen ghost letterer in the production department, and I was thrilled just to go to New York and work in the background in the production department, getting the books ready for publication, and just being there and watching and holding original pages from professionals already ahead of me in the game, and learning from them, and ghosting the letterers of that time back in the 90s. To me, I was thrilled just to do that. Do paste ups and mechanicals and just work in the background or making copies or whatever. I was happy to be in the environment, and that's one of the great things about being at the Cuba School too. To be in the midst of creativity, whether you're drawing or participating in any element of the system, to me was a great joy to be just in it, and even more when I started drawing for them. Then I got so busy.
It was quite a learning experience that you had to under your belt, and you got to suck it all in.
Oh, yeah.
That's excellent. Sergio, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Invest Comics TV. We will be right back.
Here's a riddle for you. What do the California gold rush of the 1850s, secret societies, coded messages, mysterious 19th century flying machines, and an early 20th century outside artist named Charles A. Delshaw all have in common? The Secrets of Delshaw by Dennis Crenshaw and Pete Navarro. Go to www.secretsofdelshaw.com to learn more.
This is Crystal and Sergio on Invest Comics TV, and we're having a great discussion with Sergio, who has had an amazing career as a comic book illustrator. Now, Sergio, you have one of your own titles that I briefly want to talk about, The Iron Ghost, that you worked with Chuck Dixon on. How was that?
That was phenomenal to work with Chuck. We had worked together on Crux for CrossGen, and we were thinking about doing something together, and he had Iron Ghost to launch, and I learned so much in drawing the World War, the settings and the uniforms, and trust me, it's very confusing to figure out the uniforms of all the guys from WW2, and Chuck was awesome to provide a lot of reference for me with books and even action figures and everything. He's great about that.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you had a really amazing moment in your career, another one out of all the others. You were a finalist in 2007 for the Eisner Award, which is like the Academy Awards of comic books, for the Lone Ranger series. Was that another really just amazing moment for you? How did you feel when you found out you were a finalist?
Surreal. I couldn't believe it. I did not expect it. I was so thrilled just to be nominated. I didn't mind not getting the monument, whatever, the statue, that globe. It's a beautiful piece. But just to be there among my peers and being recognized in the community for something you've done, it's very, very rewarding to me already. Yes.
I bet. Now, you're also working on something called the Action Bible. That's an ongoing project, I believe, for you. And that's really kind of different, a step away from the superheroes and the Iron, lost my thought, and the Iron Ghost. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the Action Bible, I was introduced to the Picture Bible, which was the original Action Bible back in the 70s when I was in Brazil. And I remember reading in Portuguese, and I loved it when in 77, 72, somewhere in there. I didn't even know how to ride a bike yet, a bicycle, and I was looking at these pictures of Samson and David and Goliath and Moses and all those amazing illustrations by André Leblanc, who illustrated the original 600 to 800 page saga of the Bible. I never dreamed that one day David C. Cook would be calling me to illustrate and revamp the picture Bible, and they would be calling it the Action Bible. To me, it was another milestone in my career to be able to be called and chosen to illustrate such an epic publication that revolutionized my life since I was a young man. And for me, it took me 3 years to finish, close to 750 pages. 212 narratives and lots of illustrations while I was working on The Lone Ranger and also working on Son of Samson for Zondervan.
You multitask well.
I was doing a lot of pages, and that's when what I was talking about earlier of letting it go and keep moving. You can't contemplate too much on the page. You have to produce, and you have to have a method of completion of work in order for you to meet deadlines and keep on going.
Right. Well, speaking of that, let's briefly talk about that for, other upcoming comic artists. How do you juggle it all? How do you find time for all these projects that you're working on? Do you have like a strict routine that you follow?
Yes, what I do with my pages is I lay out the thumbnails first. So I'm in a week I'm working on thumbnails for whatever projects I'm involved with, and I submit those for approval or critiques from the writer or the editors, whatever the case is. Then what I do once we are set on the thumbnails, I enlarge them to 11 by 17 Bristol board, and I lightbox my thumbs into a loose thumbnails. But I work on stages of completion, like 7 pages simultaneously that I do just loose pencils of 7 pages, and then the following stage next week will be outlining the 7 pages, and then spotting the blacks for those 7 pages. Sort of having an assembly line method instead of working really hard on one page today and then tomorrow working really hard on another page tomorrow. That way I keep the continuity of quality, and I gauge myself in how I'm doing and meeting the deadline for that project and every other project simultaneously that I'm involved with.
That sounds like a pretty good method. Definitely for someone as busy as you are. So I have to know, because you've drawn so many superheroes, who's your favorite?
I have to say that for a long time it has been Batman from DC and Spiderman from Marvel. But I really enjoyed The Lone Ranger. It has become part of a natural way of drawing comic in a spaghetti western genre and visual. So I like that character a lot, and Tonto also. But I really enjoy all kinds of different heroes, from Lone Ranger, Spider-Man, Batman, Incredible Hulk, or Spider-Girl, or Conan, or even Iron Ghost. I think there is fun in every project that I get to work, and I really enjoy doing it when I'm doing it. But I really enjoy Batman and Spider-Man.
Batman has always been one of my favorites as well.
It's always fun.
Absolutely.
Wolverine is
Sergio,
also fun.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Well, Sergio, thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule and chatting with us today. Why don't you let the audience know where they can keep track of you? Just go ahead and plug your website.
It's my first and last name, which is very hard to remember. But it's Sergio. Everybody knows Sergio. And the last name is a little tricky. Just think of a yellow car yellow. So SergioCariello.com. That's my website. And just Google my name too, and you find other things that you'll be able to get in touch with me if you want me to draw some funny characters for you.
Well, that's great. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much again, Sergio. I am Crystal Storm with Invest Comics TV. Tune in next time.